Everything you think you know about Spy X Family is about to be challenged. You see a wholesome anime about a quirky fake family finding real love. But what if I told you that this seemingly innocent story is actually exposing one of the most dangerous psychological traps of our digital age? What if your favorite family in anime is teaching you how to fall in love with a lie? In the next 14 minutes, you'll uncover how Spy X Family mirrors the psychological mechanics of parasocial love, revealing why millions of us emotionally invest in people who don't even know we exist. We're about to break down the Forger family not as a feel-good fantasy, but as a case study in emotional manipulation. And here's what's truly unsettling. You're not just watching this happen, you're actively participating in it. You probably see Spy X Family as wholesome, quirky, and heartwarming, the kind of show you watch to feel good after a long day. But if you've ever cried over a Twitch streamer going through a breakup, if you've felt genuine heartbreak when your favorite YouTuber took a mental health break, if you've ever caught yourself saying "we" when talking about an influencer's life, then you're already living this story. The Forgers are a fake family, but they feel real. And that emotional illusion? That's exactly how parasocial love thrives in your everyday life. See, your brain doesn't care that Loid is an animated spy, or that your favorite content creator is performing for a camera. The emotional response is genuine either way. In this breakdown, we'll explore why your brain can't tell the difference between real and simulated connection, how this shapes your media consumption, and what it reveals about your own emotional needs. But first, let's start with the biggest lie of all. Here's the truth that makes Spy X Family so uncomfortable to analyze. The Forgers are a performance, but our emotional response is genuine. Think about it. Loid enters this arrangement as a cold, calculating spy who needs a cover identity. Yor joins because she needs to appear normal to avoid suspicion. Anya? She's literally reading their minds and playing along because she thinks spy games are fun. Every single member of this family is lying. Yet somehow, we believe in them. And here's where it gets interesting. Over time, they start acting with authentic affection. Watch Loid unconsciously celebrating when Anya gets a good grade. Notice how Yor's protective instincts kick in when Anya's in danger. These aren't calculated moves anymore. They're genuine emotional responses. But here's what most viewers miss. You're doing the exact same thing. You know the Forgers aren't real. You know you're watching a performance. Yet you feel warmth when they share family moments. You feel anxiety when they're in danger. You feel pride when Anya succeeds at school. This is crucial because it reveals how our brains process connection. The mechanism that makes you care about the Forgers is identical to what makes you care about your favorite streamer, YouTuber, or podcaster. Now compare this to anime like Blend S or The Disastrous Life of Psyche K. Those shows are so absurd your brain never fully buys in. You can laugh at them, but you don't care about them. The Forgers? They're crafted to feel authentic, even within their deception. And here's the science behind why this works. Studies from UCLA and Harvard show that our brains process parasocial relationships almost identically to real ones. When your favorite streamer smiles at the camera, your brain releases the same dopamine as if a friend smiled at you. When they show sadness, you feel genuine empathy. Your neural pathways don't distinguish between mediated and real-life emotional connection. They just respond. So ask yourself this: are the emotions you feel online feeding you or fooling you? Are you getting genuine connection, or are you being satisfied by a simulation? Because here's what I want you to really consider. If a lie can make us feel this deeply, what happens when we fall in love with it? Now here's where Spy X Family gets really uncomfortable. Because Anya isn't just a cute kid with psychic powers, she's literally you. Think about it. Anya's telepathy gives her complete access to everyone's inner thoughts, motivations, and secrets. She knows Papa is a spy. She knows Mama is an assassin. She understands the truth behind every performance in her household. But here's the cruel irony. She can't reveal any of it. She has to sit there, watching this elaborate charade, knowing exactly what's happening but unable to participate authentically. She's the ultimate observer, emotionally invested, but fundamentally outside the real relationship. Sound familiar? Because that's exactly your position with every parasocial relationship you have. You watch your favorite YouTubers' vlogs and feel like you know their struggles. You see their late-night streams and think you understand their personality. You have access to their thoughts, their daily routines, their emotional breakdowns. You're Anya, reading minds through a screen. But just like Anya can't actually tell Loid she knows he's a spy, you can't actually participate in these relationships. You can watch, you can care, you can even suffer when they suffer, But the connection only flows one way. This is what makes parasocial dynamics so psychologically complex. We get the illusion of intimacy without any of the reciprocity that makes real relationships meaningful. When your favorite streamer talks about their day, your brain processes it as if a friend is confiding in you. But they're not. They're performing for thousands of people simultaneously, and you're just one of many invisible observers. Anya at least gets to live in the same house as her fake family. You don't even get that. Here's the practical application most people miss. Start differentiating between emotional access and emotional reciprocity in your digital life. Access means you can see someone's content, watch their streams, know their thoughts. Reciprocity means they know yours back. Access feels like connection, but it's actually just observation. When you catch yourself saying "we" about an influencer's life, when you feel genuine anxiety about their problems, when you defend them in comment sections like they're your actual friend, you're experiencing access, not reciprocity. And that brings us to the most unsettling realization of all. There's a reason we want to believe in the forgers, even when we know it's all a lie. Now we need to ask the uncomfortable question, why do we prefer the lie? Because here's what your brain craves above all else: emotional safety. And fake families like the forgers offer something real relationships can't guarantee: predictable, non-threatening affection. Think about how the forgers operate. Loid's protection is calculated but consistent. Yours caring demeanor never wavers. Anya's innocent joy is always there when you need it. They've created a curated emotional environment where the worst thing that happens is a failed test or a minor misunderstanding. No real betrayal, no genuine abandonment, no authentic heartbreak. The forgers will never wake up one day and decide they don't love each other anymore. They'll never have a fight that actually damages their relationship. They'll never disappoint you in a way that can't be resolved in 22 minutes. Now contrast this with something like Attack on Titan. Real relationships break down. Eren betrays his friends. Characters you love die brutally. Trust gets shattered. People you thought were good turn out to be monsters. It's raw, it's real, and it's emotionally exhausting. Your brain looks at that chaos and says, "No thank you. Give me the forgers instead." And here's the neuroscience behind why this works so well. When you watch the forgers have their wholesome family moments, your brain releases oxytocin, the same hormone that bonds you to real family members. When Anya smiles at you through the screen, when Loid shows pride in her accomplishments, when Yor acts protective, your brain gets a hit of connection without any of the risk. It's like emotional fast food, quick, easy, satisfying, but ultimately empty calories. But here's the practical application most people avoid confronting. Start monitoring your screen time with what I call emotional comfort content. Are you watching the forgers because they genuinely inspire you? Or are you using them to avoid dealing with the messiness of real relationships? Are you scrolling through your favorite influencers' content because it adds value to your life? Or because it's easier than having an actual conversation with someone who might disagree with you? There's nothing wrong with enjoying comfort content, but when it becomes a substitute for real connection rather than a complement to it, that's when you're using it to escape rather than cope. And that brings us to the most unsettling realization of all. But there's one final twist, and it's the most unsettling of all. Here's the twist that changes everything. Parasocial love doesn't just happen to you. You're actively participating in constructing it. Think about how the forgers became real to you. It wasn't just the animation or the voice acting. Their realness grows with your investment. Every time you cheer when they have a wholesome family moment. Every time you feel anxiety when their cover is almost blown. Every time you cry at Anya's innocent joy, you're giving the illusion its power. The forgers exist as a family because you believe they exist as a family. Without your emotional investment, they're just lines on paper and voice actors reading scripts. But with it, they become people you genuinely care about. People whose happiness matters to you. People you defend in online discussions. You're not just consuming their story, you're completing it. Now contrast this with something like Mob Psycho 100. That show deliberately breaks the fourth wall. It rejects easy emotional manipulation. It forces you to question your involvement as a viewer. When you try to get comfortable with a character, the show pulls the rug out from under you and makes you ask, wait, why was I so invested in that? It's designed to make you uncomfortable with your own emotional participation. But Spy X Family, it welcomes your investment. It rewards your emotional labor with more wholesome moments. It gives you exactly what you're looking for, as long as you keep believing. And here's where this gets really uncomfortable. because the same thing happens with every parasocial relationship in your life. Your favorite YouTuber performs authenticity, and you complete the illusion by projecting genuine friendship onto that performance. Your favorite streamer shares their struggles, and you finish the narrative by imagining yourself as someone who truly understands them. These bonds aren't just created by the content creator. They're co-authored. They perform, and you project. They provide the framework, and you fill in the emotional details. But here's what I want you to really think about. What role are you playing in this narrative? When you watch that late-night stream and feel like you're keeping them company, are you observing or are you emotionally entangling yourself in something that isn't reciprocal? When you defend your favorite creator in comment sections like they're your actual friend, are you protecting someone you know or are you protecting an investment you've made? When you feel genuine sadness because they're taking a break from content creation, are you missing a person or are you mourning the loss of a consistent emotional supply? I know what you're thinking. This sounds cynical. These feelings are real. And you're right, the feelings are real. That's exactly the problem. Your emotional investment is genuine, but the relationship isn't. You're having real feelings about a constructed experience. You're grieving real losses in imaginary connections. And here's the most dangerous part. It's not that you're being fooled, it's that you want to be fooled. Because maintaining the illusion is easier than building real connections. It's safer than risking actual rejection. It's more predictable than dealing with people who have their own needs, opinions, and boundaries. The lie isn't just comfortable, it's preferable. The forgers will never disappoint you the way real family can. Your favorite streamer will never have bad days that affect how they treat you, because they're not actually treating you at all. So ask yourself this, are you using these relationships to enhance your real connections or to replace them? Because if you're replacing them, then you're not the victim of parasocial love, you're its willing participant. So here we are, at the end of this uncomfortable journey into the psychology of connection. The forgers aren't just a fake family, they're a mirror reflecting how deeply we yearn for connection in a world that's increasingly performative. Every wholesome moment, every family dinner, every protective gesture, it's all designed to fill a void that real life isn't satisfying. And that's exactly what makes this so powerful. Spy X Family feels real, because our minds are literally wired to respond to care, affection, and family bonds. Even when they're completely simulated, we can't help but connect. It's hard-coded into our psychology. That evolutionary programming that helped our ancestors survive in tribes, it doesn't distinguish between a real family and an animated one. It just sees the signals of care and responds accordingly. That's what makes parasocial love so powerful and so dangerous. Because when we can manufacture the feeling of connection without any of the work, risk, or reciprocity of real relationships, why would we choose the harder path? The forgers will never cancel plans with you. They'll never disagree with your political opinions. They'll never ask you to be there for them when it's inconvenient. They'll never grow in ways that challenge your own stagnation. They're the perfect emotional partners, because they're not real partners at all. But here's the question that should keep you up at night. If you can fall in love with a fake family, if you can feel genuine connection with people who don't know you exist, if you can build emotional bonds with constructed personas, what does that say about the connections you're missing in real life? Are you drawn to the forgers because they represent what family could be, or because they're easier than the family you actually have? Are you investing in parasocial relationships because they're fulfilling, or because they're safe? The answer to that question might be the most important insight you take from this analysis. If this breakdown gave you a new perspective on anime and the emotional traps of modern media, consider subscribing for more content that challenges the way we consume stories. Because these patterns aren't limited to Spy X Family, they're everywhere in our media landscape. And maybe, just maybe, recognizing how we're being emotionally manipulated is the first step toward building the real connections we're actually searching for. Sometimes, the most dangerous lies are the ones we choose to believe.